Well, hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to our study of Ecclesiastes, where God has been teaching us, exhorting us, but mostly frustrating us, right? Leaving us kind of irritated. And as I said before, he will be bouncing back and forth throughout this book. We saw in chapter 5 him enter this reality of the presence of God, saying, just don't practice your religion without your heart being involved, if I can paraphrase. And telling our hearts to focus on God when everything seems wrong and unjust. Just be that worker with rest. And that's when he's going to flip the table, change everything, pull the rug under our feet, and it's getting very, very negative. If I can think back on the image I've used before, in this exploration of the cave where we think we're figuring stuff out, we're going to end up misstepping and falling down into a precipice. And it's one focused on money. And so it's tempting to say, oh, it's okay, I don't have that much. But that's wrong on two levels. The first being, if you live in North America or Europe, you got it. You might not have all you want, but you can get a lot. We have a lot. But on the other side, it's not just about the money, though. It's about having a nice family, a nice home, a nice job. We have. So we can understand what Kohelet is talking about. That's why we want to pay attention to what he has to say and how he wants to provoke us to thought. Now be ready to get the rug pulled from under your feet. As Kohelet then continues and says, there is a grievous evil that I have seen under the sun. Riches were kept by their owner to his hurt. He's been talking about positive ways of making it through the Havals, but now he just talks about a grievous evil, putting together two synonyms, really pounding them on us. Right? Grievous, that's enough. Not evil too. What is it exactly though? Well, that this person is keeping up riches. Don't think of having millions of dollars. That's not the point though. You can't go there necessarily. He's just being a shrewd businessman. The same way we would have retirement funds, or put a little money aside for a vacation or something, or buy a nice house. Not in that's wrong to be putting away. It's not necessarily putting treasures on earth. It's not it. But it's that he did that and it ended up being for his own hurt. And now so you scratch the head and say, but how? But why? Is he doing something wrong? And there's this what Kohelet's going to show us. Actually, he's not. Yeah, he's going to continue and say, and those riches were lost in a bad venture. And he is father of a son. But he has nothing in his hand. We pay attention to some of these expressions because we've seen them before. Like the son and the hand. We saw before that the biggest harm is those people who put money aside and try to make money, but have nobody to share it with. Well, he does. He has a son. So it's not about just making money for make money. It's so he can share with his son, which is a good thing. And then you got the hand. We've seen before this notion. You can either have two hands full, but with a lot of toils and tribulations, or just a handful, but in contentment. Now this person has nothing full. What? So again, it seems like this person is doing the right thing, following wisdom, but then something bad happens. This bad venture. Tempting to think that this is about him doing a bad business deal, but the way it's presented, probably not. It's more general than that. It would hint at something he's already mentioned. There are things in this world, crooked things, that we can't uncrooked or undo. Right? There's things in this world we can't control. That's a great Haval. And he gave us an example of that, death. No matter the advancement in science, you cannot stop death. And here's another one though. One that's mysterious, out of the blue. It doesn't explain it, it just says something happens to this person who seems to be doing it the right way that just takes it all away. What? It just seems wrong, doesn't it? Well, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse because Kohelet's going to add, As he came from his mother's womb, he shall go again, naked as he came, and shall take nothing for his toil, that he may carry away in his hand. Makes you think of the words of Job, right? Naked I came into this world, naked I'll come out. When he lost everything. That's kind of what he's saying. This guy who did everything right, who was right before the eyes of the Lord, ends up with nothing, not even for his own son. Sorry, son, got nothing. I did it the right way, but it didn't work. So that's when we want to say, God, wait, that doesn't make sense. If people do it the right way, we follow wisdom, we're supposed to be rich, or at least comfortable, have something for your family. And here's saying, but sometimes you get that event that happens, and it's all taken away. He ends up at the last moment of his life, and again, don't miss. For his toils, he gets nothing. The whole point of the words of Kohelet is to try to help us and teach us how to grab hold of something in this havel of a world. He's been trying to show us ways that you can grab something that's thick, that's palpable, a gain. But now he's saying that this guy, at the end of his life, even though he did everything right, he ends up with nothing. His hand, again, is empty, not even a palm of hand with contentment. Wait, what? See, that's why he's going to kind of close up the loop, come back around and put the other side of parenthesis here, and say this. This also is a grievous evil. Just as he came, so shall he go. And what gain is there to him who toils for the wind? He again compounds those words. He reuses how he started. He said there's a grievous evil. He showed us something, and he comes back around and says, do you see how this is a grievous evil? How this person did everything right, and yet at the end of his life, he ends up with no gain. Empty hands. What? But he followed wisdom. He can't be left with havel. That's not possible. And yet, that's exactly what happened. It's like he was running after wind. But those who run after wind are the bad people. Not those who are good. It's the fools, not the wise. Yet, this guy, because of the event out of his control, he ends up in the same category. And just to pile it on, he adds this little extra piece and says, moreover, all his days he eats in darkness, in much vexation, and sickness and anger. Moreover, let me just add a little something more, just in case you're not frustrated enough. If I can take back my image from the beginning. You're walking down the precipice, you fall down the hole, and now rocks pile on you. And you almost want to cry out, why? See, he takes that situation where the person worked hard the right way, still ends up with nothing, but he then goes back into the guy's life and talks by piling on all these examples, right? Eats in darkness, vexation, sickness, and anger. The point is not to focus on what are these things, it's how he's using synonyms, piling on all these negative words, going back into the guy's life. And basically saying, even though he did everything right, because of how it ended, it's like everything was wrong. That sounds so wrong, doesn't it? It leaves a bad taste in our mouth. How can this be? You started on the right track, you did everything right, and the way you end, almost like you can backtrack and say it was all horrible then. All useless. All havel. Vexation, frustration. What? Exactly. That's the point. And this we have a difficulty with because we live in a modern Christian world where it's all about how things will get better. Yeah, there's difficulties and satanic attacks, but that's for your promotion. That's to get up in levels, to get better stuff. But the Bible doesn't talk like that. It talks about us suffering and then dying sometimes. Like it happened throughout Christian history and in most of the rest of the world, that's the reality. Again, don't just think about money. You establish a nice family. You raise your kids in the ways of the Lord. And when they become adults, they abandon the faith. Go into the world, even some end up dying because of drug abuse. What? You invest in your couple. You have a wonderful life of decades together, and then your husband or wife says, I want to get divorced. You do the counseling, you do everything right, it still doesn't work. Okay, well, the Lord has another wife or husband for me. No, I beg you, boom. All this was for nothing. You see the frustration? We can understand that. We can taste that as well. And yet, that could be the reality. People who get sick sometimes don't just heal. They'll just suffer with pain until they die. Some in depression, discouragement, don't ever see the light of day. They just fight with it and then they die. It is so against our modern Christian message, yet it is the message of the Bible. Well, it's not just inventing something, it's going to be repeated throughout Scripture, the New Testament as well. Because ultimately, though, it's not about here and now and how much things can get better. It's about after, though. See, Kohelet won't go there. That's not his point. The point of his book. But we can, because the Bible does. We go to the fact that it's after, it's the palpableness, beyond imagination. And for some, many maybe, it'll just be suffering until then. That could be the truth. It may be hard to swallow, but we need to swallow this pill as well. They're brothers and sisters. And there's no, be blessed.